I'm Neil Lewis, I'm the manager of Ynni Sir Gâr, and I'm also very proud to be the councillor for Plaid Cymru in Abergwili. But I'm here today to talk about the manifestos of the various parties coming up to the very important Senedd elections, because the people of Wales have obviously got concerns. There's a lot of tension about renewable energy and about pylons and what have you. And we've been through the manifestos of all the parties independently to try and work out what the best decision might be for people who are concerned with climate change, concerned with fuel poverty, concerned with the landscapes in Wales. What do we need from this election? As someone who was brought up in a coal mining community, the extractive industries, the extractive habits seem to be continuing in the form of renewables. So you have these big companies coming in, getting the cheapest options when it comes to pylons and putting cables overground rather than underground, not really benefiting the local people as well as they should. Because obviously you've got great examples all across Wales of turbines dominating the landscape, and yet the people in the communities aren't benefiting a great deal. So we want shared ownership models, we want cheaper electricity for people hosting these renewable energy projects, but the holy grail for us is to own the projects and to be able to supply the electricity at affordable rates for the local people, so the people don't just host these projects, that they actually benefit directly from them. And that's why we've been looking through the manifestos of all the political parties, standing in this Senedd election to see who people should vote for if they want an energy system in Wales that works for them. So this is the more painful part of today's operation, is talking about Reform UK, and they're claiming that they want to, in the Welsh Manifesto, propose ending investment in what it terms wasteful net zero schemes. Unbelievable when you think of the scale of the opportunity we have. And then when asked directly how Wales could benefit from its net zero journey, Reform UK's answer was simply that they would scrap net zero, and all related subsidies, redirecting those funds to public services. Well, that's just not real, is it? It's not real. The money we need for the NHS, and we badly need the money we need for social services, that's not going to come from not generating electricity from renewable energy. It's just a total fabrication that's undeliverable on every level. A mae Reform hefyd yn gweud bod eisiau ni cael mwy o nwy a mwy o tanwydd o'r dan y môr a bethau. Mae'n rhy drud, mae'n rhy bryd, so ni'n gallu ffwrdd o hwn, ti'n modd? So fe'n mynd i wneud waniaeth, achos mae'r nwy a'r olew yn mynd i'r marchnad trwy'r byd. So so'r pres mynd i dod lawr. O gwbl os ni'n drilo am mwy o nwy, mae'r dyfodol yn glân, a sy'n eisiau ni mynd nôl i'r hen dyddiau. Yna beth mae Reform a'r ceidwadwyr yn gofyn am ar y foment. We look at the ceidwadwyr, the Conservatives in Wales. Not there is a Welsh Conservative Party, but that's another subject. Notably light on net zero, as one would expect, and the environmental section is not a major focus of the document. The manifesto for the Conservatives' approach to energy is framed primarily through economic competitiveness rather than climate change. Well, if that's the case, we need renewable energy, we need energy efficiency, we need local generation, we need energy security. But their manifesto seems to ignore all of those opportunities and commits to developing growth strategies. So basically, Reform and Conservatives are very heavily funded by the fossil fuel industry, aren't they? That's the bottom line, and their manifestos demonstrate that in every word. And the lack of focus on nature emergency, they talk of food security, which we all would agree with, but there's opportunities with renewable energy and food security. It's not either or. So looking at the Labour manifesto that we've been through, I've been living under a Labour government for the last 25, 27 years, and we've been working on the community energy sector under this Labour government, and they've been really supportive of the idea of community energy, locally generated electricity. But the reality is they haven't put in the legislation that we wanted to make it real. Ni wedi bod cydweithio â llawer o pobl arbennig o dda yn y Llywodraeth, a maen nhw'n helpu ni i seto lan yn ei cymunedol, a mae hwnna'n gret, ond sim reswm i cwmnïau mawr cydweithio gyda ni. When these big companies come to Wales, there's no reason for them to engage with us as the community energy sector, because there's nothing in legislation. So they've been quite weak and wishy-washy, and their manifesto follows on with that sort of idea. So it's much the same as it always was. They talk about targets, but they don't put the means in place to achieve those targets. That's the problem. And they want to ensure renewable energy projects happen. Shwai, all right?
Hello.
offer local communities a share of their profits, but it's all a bit cap in hand. When you talk to these major international companies, why would they cut us in with any of the action? What we have to have is local ownership and legislation to make sure that we're in charge of our own destiny and benefiting from our own projects. Fi'n licio'r Lib Dems yn un o ddoi pethau maen nhw'n gweud. Maen nhw'n gweud bod tai newydd I gyd mynd I cael ynni adnewyddadwy. Wel, fi'n credu bod hwnna'n dod mewn hyd yn oed trwy San Steffan, so sim rhaid I Gymru becso gobeithio i gormod bwyty hwnna, ond fydd e'n gret os mae pob to newydd paneli solar. A wedyn, dy ffarmio, maen nhw'n siarad am bwyty helpu'r ffermwyr, mae hwnna'n bwysig iawn wrth gwrs. A trial creu syniadau i'r ffermwyr cael ei elw mas o ynni adnewyddadwy. Helpu y ffermwyr mas hefyd a helpu'r tyfu bwyd I ni hefyd. Un beth maen nhw'n gryf, bwyty dŵr, un o prif pethau maen nhw'n gweud yw clai lan yr afonydd. Wel, mae'r afon Tywi jyst draw fyna. Yn bywyd fi, fi'n 60 oed nawr. Fi wedi gweld beth sy'n digwydd i'r afon Tywi trwyddo llygredd. The worry for the orange vote, the Lib Dems vote, is obviously how relevant it is in many of the seats in Wales, sadly. They've got such low support in most places across Wales, particularly we're sitting here in Carmarthen. You could vote for Lib Dem all you like and you're not going to get anyone in. So maybe it's a straight fight between the green element, Plaid Cymru, and obviously the blue element. So obviously someone in my sector, worried about climate change, worried about the nature emergency, the wren disturbing us at the same time, worrying about communities, worrying about fuel poverty. The Green Party have a lot to offer, don't they? The climate action and transition plans, fast methane action plan, so there's a lot going on in the Green Party that I could support, but the worry I have is not to split the Green vote. And if we did go down the road of voting for Green in Carmarthen, there's a chance that reform could get in, and that would be a disaster from the Wren's point of view. Gyda Plaid Cymru, mae cyfle enfawr yn nhw nawr, os I newid pethau yn Gymru, yna beth mae Plaid Cymru wastad eisiau moyn wneud. A un peth gryf dy Plaid Cymru yw'r sector y ffermwyr, dyfa, yr amaeth. A mae cyfle nawr, so fi'n gwybod pam mae hwn wedi digwydd dan llafur, ond mae gwrthwynebiad rynt y ffermio a'r sector ymgyrchu. A dyle fe ddim fod fel yna. From my experience as a county councillor, the farming sector has felt threatened by a lot of the green agenda. And I don't think it should be like that. It's ridiculous that that's ended up, because surely this is a great opportunity for the farming sector to diversify, extra income streams, enhance their soil, enhance their land, increase the value of their land, increase their importance in society through growing the food that we all eat. Mae'n gret bod Plaid a manifesto mor gryf ar y sector ymgyrchu. I particularly like this embed decarbonisation across all cabinet portfolios. It's not just someone else's problem, it's my problem. Provide a public dashboard showing progress, superb, and establish a just transition board. Social equity and justice is so important. And use experts. What a great idea. I wish they would. I wish all the political parties would use experts. And work with people with lived experience to guide decisions. So the people in Senedd who are dealing with fuel poverty, let's work with them to deliver acceptable projects for energy efficiency and cheaper electricity. I was brought up with the extractive economy. We've all lived the extractive economy where big companies come into Wales, they take the profit, put them in the Cayman Islands in the case of the open cast coal mining, and then say they haven't got any money to put Wales back in the shape it was. And all the profits have always left Wales in the extractive economy that we've lived in. Well, renewable energy offers the opportunity to keep the profits within Wales, and it's so important that we do this through the next election, and we get the parties who understand the opportunities and deliver.